Blaine Wilson ready to go on the still rings. He scored the first 10 of his career on rings in this event last year, and that helped him to go on to win the title.
And although Blaine is not very bulky as an athlete, he's got tremendous strength for rings.
At the 1996 Olympics, Blaine placed 7th in this event.
And there's a reason why, because he's so powerful. A Maltese cross, right up to an inverted cross, up to another Maltese cross, bounce to an iron cross. Look at that, tremendous amount of strength. There's a swing to a handstand. Blaine just makes rings look so easy. Back up rise, no problem. Setting up for his dismount. Let's see what it is this time. Double layout, full twist. No problem for Blaine Wilson.
Also getting ready for the Goodwill Games and the U.S. Nationals that are coming up in August in Indianapolis. So you don't think that's a 10?
Well, he had a problem on his iron cross sequence, and he just had a little struggle there. I don't know if the judges are going to deduct or not. Nice sequence of strength skills, though. Here's his back up rise to a plunge. Forward into a Maltese cross. Looks kind of like the plunge, but he's a little bit lower. We call that a Maltese cross to an inverted cross. His dismount was a double layout with a full twist. A half in, half out, laid out. There's the giant dislocate. Nice straight body, too. Easily makes the landing.
Well, it's not a 10, but it's about as close as you can get. A 9.95 for Blaine Wilson. Still to come, the women compete on the floor, but first the men finish up on the rings when we return. Here's Yevgeny Shabayev. We mentioned some of his accomplishments in his career. He did not, however, make the 1996 Russian Olympic team, and he says that that's still a very, very painful memory for him, Peter, not to make that team.
It was a major disappointment, and it was just due to a horrible shoulder injury. He came back fairly soon after and won a very prestigious event called the Chunichi Cup in Japan. It's Japan's biggest international event, and I think that kind of put him back on track, but just has not quite had the career he's hoped for, and that's why he's still training hard and trying to do something leading up to the year 2000. Beautiful back up rise to a handstand. Has a bit of a swing going here. Kills the swing by doing his back up rise to an inverted cross, right to another inverted cross. A little bit high, could be a little bit lower. Whip it into an iron cross. Shoot to a handstand. Setting up for his dismount was a half in, half out. Not too difficult of a dismount. Took a hop on the landing. Not the level of difficulty, for example, of Blaine Wilson or the power, but a very clean performer. The still rings is called the still rings for a reason. The gymnast does not want to generate too much swing. When he does, he has to make sure that he bails out of that inverted cross at the right moment to counteract the swing on the rings to slow things down. Here he goes into his iron cross. And his dismount was just a half in, half out, a full twisting double back flip. Not exactly state of the art right now, but he makes it quite easily, but takes that hop on the dismount.
And the judges give Shabayev a 9.6. That's his lowest score in this first day of the competition.
Next on the rings, please welcome.
Here's Chris Waller now. As we mentioned earlier, the oldest competitor here, 29 years old. Born in Evanston, Illinois.
Rings has not typically been Chris's strongest event.
He had an incredible stretch in his career from 1989 to 1993. He won a USA Gymnastics or an NCAA national title every year.
Yeah, always a very consistent performer. Works very hard, has nice clean technique in gymnastics. There's a little bit weak there on that Maltese. Saw him grimace a little bit. There's his press to a handstand, getting ready for his dismount. little weak there. See how much energy he has for his dismounts. A giant dislocate, double layout, no problem.
Chris Waller was in 3rd place, tied with Roethlisberger after 2 rotations. Let's see how he does here with this score on the rings.
Ladies and gentlemen, the old man in tonight's competition, Chris Waller is 29.
And I'll tell you, Andrea, for someone who hasn't really been training seriously since 1996, Chris Waller's done a very good job so far today. Little trouble on his press to a handstand here, but does a really nice dismount. He'll bail from the handstand, do a giant dislocate to a double layout, double backflip with the body stretched, and perfect landing. Not bad for Chris.
And it's a 9.7 for Waller. That's one of the higher scores on rings so far for the men.
There we go. I like it.
Here's a look now at how some of the other men fared on the rings a little earlier.
Well, rings is always a strong event for Cheney Humphrey. He's very powerful. Those are 2 consecutive Maltese crosses. And Cheney did a respectable job. This is whip it to an iron cross. And got a decent score. Now, Mihai Bajuk ran into some major trouble here as he swings to a handstand, gets a lot of swing going on the rings. He had to buckle his arms, does his double front sequence called a Yamawaki, and now he's got tremendous swing going, and that's a deduction, and it's hard to stop that swing. And I talked to John McCready before this competition, and he said that he really couldn't afford to take any risks on the rings with his shoulders, and so he had to really water down the routine just to make sure that those shoulders healed properly after his operation. Only a 9.3. Alexei Vodopayev did a very good routine, very good technique on his swing, but in trying to fulfill his strength requirement, he just didn't quite meet the requirements for these inverted crosses here. He really should be more horizontal on that one there and the one that follows.
Day 1 of the competition is over for the men. Here are the standings. Blaine Wilson, as Peter predicted, has increased his lead over the rest of the field. Shabayev, Waller, and Roethlisberger far behind. Let's head backstage now to Scott Lasky, standing by with Blaine.
Blaine, you told us that you went to China, came back from China this week, got sick. Maybe you should consider going to China and getting sick more often.
I don't know about that, you know. But I do feel a little better. You know, at the start of the competition, I was a little tired. You know, we have a lot of time in between routines and stuff, so I get the chance to sit down and hopefully catch a nap or 2.
Coming in as the leader tomorrow, what can we expect from you?
Just come out and do the same thing. You know, I'm going to be doing some big stuff tomorrow, so I look forward to the whole competition. It'll be fun.
Great job.
Thank you.
Still to come, the women will complete their rotation on the floor. You'll see the spunky Dominique Moceanu when we return.